badlands of Ethiopia to the coasts of Florida.
Whoa, look at that little guy go.
In the bones of ancient creatures and deep inside your own DNA lies an incredible story. The story of your body and why you're built the way you are.
You are a cutie.
The shape of your hands, your rich color vision, the way you walk, and even the structure of your brain.
I find that mind-blowing.
Can all be traced back to ancient primates living in an ancient forest. My name is Neil Shubin. As an anatomist, I look at human bodies differently from most people. Within us, I see the ghosts of animals past. Distant ancestors who shaped our anatomy in surprising ways. Prepare yourself for a trip back to an ancient world. If you really want to know why you look the way you do,
it's time to meet your inner monkey.
Well, hello again. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I already talked about on other videos, many other videos, different times, tidbits here and there. Today I'm going to try to put everything together, at least for the new people on the channel, some people that didn't watch all the videos. And again, sometimes I talk on the third person because it's easier for me to explain the story that way. I have a bunch of papers here because I didn't want to forget some stuff like I usually do. But I wrote a bunch of notes here. So, if I'm not being fluent, it's because I'm looking at the notes so that I don't forget everything I wanted to say about this issue. This issue of evolution. Humans, as the Anunnaki found them, in their natural state at the time, were exactly like the humans you're about to see on this video that I'm going to show. This is why the goddess sent the Anunnaki here, to help them, to find out why they are not moving ahead like most races, and they were stagnant. This is recent footage, 20 years, 30 years, this still exists. If humans had not been presented, had not been introduced to all the things they did, from both sides, they would still be pretty much at this stage. They're going to see a bunch of humans which were left pretty much untouched. Nothing was introduced to them. And so they remained. Because the help that the Anunnaki has planned to give humans, so for them to move ahead, never really happened like it was supposed to be. Never. Because of the flash. But I'll get to it. Let's watch the video first.
Hello and welcome to my new video, North Sentinel Island. It lies to the west of southern part of Andaman Islands of India. The people who live on North Sentinel Island are called the Sentinelese. They are thought to be direct descendants of the first humans who emerged from Africa. They have lived on this tiny island for almost 60,000 years. Their exact population is unknown. It could be as low as 40 or high as 500. However, an Indian anthropologist, T.N. Pandit, conducted several government-sponsored trips to the island in the late 80s and early 90s. Sometimes they would turn their backs to us and sit on their haunches as if to defecate, he said. This was meant to insult us as we were not welcome. It doesn't matter whether you are a friend or enemy, whether you arrive at the island shores on purpose or by accident. The locals will greet you the same way with spears and arrows. Gifts of food and clothing are of no importance to them. They were even hostile to rescue missions after tsunami in 2004. A group of rescuers reached out the Sentinelese in an Indian Navy helicopter. They wanted to find and help survivors, although chances were slim. They tried dropping food parcels to the ground, but they were met with hostility. A sole Sentinelese warrior emerged from the dense jungle and shot an arrow at the helicopter. Surprisingly, there has been only one instance where outsiders did not have to face an aggressive reception. On January 4, 1991, 28 men, women and children approached Mr. Pandit and his group. That they voluntarily came forward to meet us, it was unbelievable, he said. They must have decided the time had come. Unfortunately, the last contact with islanders in 2006 didn't go as well. 2 fishermen were killed while illegally fishing within the range of the island. There are several horror stories of how Sentinelese have treated their guests. People either return from the island terrified and injured or not at all. After several failed attempts to make friendly contact with them since 1964, the Indian government has finally backed away. All visits to the island are banned. The Indian Navy has enforced a 3-mile buffer zone to keep tourists, explorers and other meddlers away. Accidental encounters still do occur, and none of them end well. The Andaman and Nicobar administration has stated in 2005 that they have no intention to interfere with the lifestyle or habitat of the Sentinelese, neither in pursuing any further contact with them. But I feel they should be treated as us, and the government must take an effort now. Further to my research, I found this video on YouTube uploaded on November 25, 2011. An unidentified group who were trying to interact with the Sentinelese. The Sentinelese are among the last uncontacted people left in the world. Working on this project, reading about them, watching all these videos brought tears in my eyes. Perhaps it's best to leave them alone. Bringing them out into civilization might not be the best for them.
I look around me and I see many groups of different people. I see what I call the monkey people. Who are the monkey people? People that believe in evolution, plain and simple. They think one of their ancestors were the monkeys. It's their own words, their own beliefs. They believe that one of their ancestors were the monkeys. They've been brainwashed to think that, and their ancestors too. So they believe one of their ancestors was the monkeys. So I call them the monkey people. It's not my invention. If they feel offended, they're the ones who chose that story. So they're the monkey people. There's many out there. I could call them something else, because on the evolution tree that they believe they're part, all the different trunks of the tree go back to the same main trunk of the tree. So I could call them, the cockroach people. But because they believe the monkey is a closer ancestor, and because they see that the monkey has some resemblances to arms, to legs, walk around, make faces. So they identify themselves more with the monkey than with the cockroach. So I call them the monkey people. Another group of people out there, I call them the monkey Christs. The monkey Christs. Who are the monkey Christs? It's Christians who believe in evolution. Which right there, it's a contradiction. But they because the sign of the times, they've been brainwashed so much that they believe in evolution, even though they're Christians. Well, if they were true Christians, that they say that God created man and the woman and the beasts. But that's a fairy tale story for them, and so they have to come up with a balance between their religious beliefs of being Christian and what everybody else believes, which is in evolution. So they come up with a story, that's not like that. God did not create man and woman and the beasts. No, God created life. And then evolution led to us. That way, they feel at peace with evolution and feel at peace with their religious beliefs. So I call them the monkey Christs. Christian monkeys. Anyway, like I said, most people think they have all this around, all these lollipops and cell phones, suddenly, because they're so intelligent. Like I told before, for thousands of years, the horse was the most popular mean of transportation for humans. Either the horse is pulling a wagon behind or not. Ships were also used, but no, they weren't as popular as horses, because horses go on land like humans. And then 100 years ago, give or take, things started changing. That was because of the Industrial Revolution. But the horse 100 years ago, although there were already cars on the road, the horse was still the most popular mean of transportation. So, as you see, many thousands of years and nothing changed. Everybody was riding horses. Suddenly, boom. Cars, trains, planes, you name it. With the introduction of machinery, which started strongly with the Industrial Revolution, though there were already machines before, but strongly at the industrial level, That's why it's called Industrial Revolution. Which was done by the Vlach in order to get more productivity concerning natural resources and money, which is needed on this planet to have power and to keep power in all its different forms, from controlling armies to controlling businesses, to enslave humans even more. You know, before the Industrial Revolution, humans did not have a 9 to 5 per se. They would go to work. Most of the population, 90%, they would go to work. If it got too hot, they would stop working, have a nap, rest, come back later, finish the job. With the Industrial Revolution, schedule started, end of that. It's a 9 to 5. So now there's no naps anymore. If you don't work, you don't get paid, and because they got everyone in debt, because humans wanted the machines that the Industrial Revolution provided them with, from cars to TV sets, and these days $1,000 cell phones and $30,000 ladies' bags. So they all got in debt. The more in debt you get, the more you have to work, the more years, the longer you have to work too, the more years, the harder. So in the beginning, the Anunnaki wanted to help humans progress, but not the way it happened. It happened like this because the Vlach started speeding up the process, introducing things to humans which were not part of their natural evolution. Now when I say evolution, I'm not talking about the evolution you are thinking, that I explained. That's all bullshit. Evolution of the senses, spiritual evolution. They would find humans if all these things had been introduced by the Anunnaki the right way. It was just a slight push on the back, you know. Just, hey, you need a help? I'll help. I'll give you a helping hand. Eventually they would find their own way. Maybe they would still be living in caves and small villages right now, and not in these huge ugly things. But they would have found their own way. But that didn't happen. The plan of the Anunnaki was simple to, give them a little soft, friendly push. A push in the right direction. But the Vlach, right from the beginning, started introducing things ahead of time. And the wrong way. Not only ahead of time, but the wrong way and the wrong things. They didn't care about the human's well-being at all. Once the Anunnaki were here, their aim was to destroy with their plan. So right from the beginning, what the Vlach wanted was to mess up the Anunnaki's plan, and by doing that, the goddess plan. They started introducing things. The Vlach started introducing things to humans, so they could control them. Like a shepherd controls a herd of sheep, including using sheep, dogs, and fences. And if you put the sheep inside fences, eventually they have to be fed. They do not roam free anymore. What does this lead to? Dependence from others. If the sheep are left in the field, no fences, they'll find food here and there and there and there. If you put them inside fences, they can eat the grass while there's grass inside the fences, but then there's no food. So they depend on someone else outside the fence to give them food. So they'll follow orders better if they depend on others for their survival. Same thing the Vlach did with the humans. So as to counterweight to this, the Anunnaki and eventually the Caristus had to introduce things to humans too. Like, for example, languages, alphabets, reading and writing, so they could at least know, learn, be aware, spread events, be informed, and not be just dumb, blind sheep. So the Anunnaki and the Caristus start giving them education, so that to counterweight what was being done to them, because they were being dumbed down, and the Anunnaki Caristus gave them a way to fight that. Music, art, languages, which were only 8 languages in the beginning, not this mess that you see in the world, like 3,000 different languages and dialects, that most of them were introduced by the Vlach, and the rest, the humans, came up with those dialects on their own, depending on where they were and the interactions between human groups. Anyway, see my notes so I don't forget anything. Okay, let's talk third person. So and that time enters Azazel. As most of you already heard, Azazel taught humans the making of weapons, metal weapons. That wasn't because Azazel wanted to see wars, but because he wanted the humans to be able to defend themselves if necessary, because the humans spread all over the place, and the Caristus could not be everywhere there were humans, but he could spread that knowledge, go there and teach them, literally, not a message on a pigeon. No, go there and literally teach them. Took a long time. And in those days, the Vlach already had plenty of hybrids going around causing trouble, killing entire villages of humans, kidnapping, raping, torturing, killing, enslaved them. So Azazel taught them how to defend themselves, because those hybrids, the Vlach hybrids, were using the weapons of the time, swords, bows and arrows. So Azazel taught them how to make better bows and arrows, better swords, better everything. Could not give them a gun to their hands. That would destroy even more the plan of the Anunnaki, the plan of the goddess, which is not to go from, you have a baby, you don't give a baby a laptop, he doesn't know what to do with that. It's useless. Baby has to go slowly, step by step, learning. Not go. If you give a baby a laptop after he is born and leave him like that, he'll never learn how to read or write. He'll just stare at the laptop forever, not knowing what it is. You have to teach a baby all those steps until he can get a laptop and then these things. So you cannot go there and give them guns. You give them weapons, slightly better, but not weapons 20,000 years ahead. That would disturb the evolution of the humans even more that already was happening with the Vlach interfering. He also, so Azazel introduced the art of making weapons. He also, like the stories say, people say, introduced makeup to women. That's true. Why? Well, it's a long story, but here's two aspects of it. Makeup works more than only a physical level. It works also a subconscious level. The introducing of makeup gave women of the time a sense of self-esteem and self-respect they had never experienced before. Before they were seen like workhorses, even to the human males. And after that, little by little, things changed for the better to the women and to the men, who slowly realized what was right in front of them. It was like having a painting on a wall covered with a towel, and suddenly they took the towel away. You can see the painting. They saw all the beauty of the painting for the first time, and for the first time they started taking better care of their work of art, the women. Now you may say, "Oh, that's so sexist of you." Well, the times were different, and in different times you do different things. If I could go deep into analyzing this aspect, I'll be here talking for weeks. So, if you don't like makeup, don't use it. Plus, we don't live in those days anymore. You don't need to use makeup to have self-esteem anymore. But back in the days, it was different. You have to think thousands of years ago. I like to see women with makeup. Others not. I like diversity. Diversity of visuals and especially of choice. If you think, like some feminists do, that no women should wear makeup, then you are no better than a third world dictator. Plus, courageous women wear makeup in Jupiter. So, that's why Azazel introduced makeup, to give women a sense of self-esteem and self-respect, and for the men of the time to look at women a different way. Because before they looked at them like workhorses. The introducing of makeup made men looking at women a whole different way.
Your body is a fishing pole, your soul it is the bait. On the shores of Silver Lake,
I cut myself into the darkness What this means is that all possible realities were being projected into the consciousness of the being at every single moment.
The good and the beehive. The king of the bees said to the good, "Help me, a spirit hath corrupted my hive. If you can cleanse my hive of this spirit, I shall let you drink of my honey for all eternity." The good said, "I shall rid your hive of this spirit." The goat came upon the hive, and saw that it was corrupted. The goat called out to the spirit, "Why should such a powerful spirit dwell within a hive so small? I know of a hive thrice as large as this, but it is my secret." The goat walked away. The spirit was tempted, and left the hive, and followed the goat.
But if all these things had not happened to humans, if the Vlach had not started to interfere, And then the Anunnaki and Karish had to interfere to counterweight what the Vlash were doing. Then humans would only be slightly ahead, just a little bit, slightly ahead of the people on that footage. Only slightly ahead. All the things that were introduced by one side or the other created the humans to go move ahead much faster than they're supposed to. Because 20,000 years is nothing. 5,000 years is even less. This was supposed to take a long time if they were left alone. Or if they only had the little help that the Anunnaki wanted to give them. And if you think, because now everybody is addicted to cell phones and lollipops and pickup trucks, if you think this would be a bad thing to be at that level of the video, you are wrong. It's not. It would not be a bad thing, it would be a very good thing. This is where humans were supposed to be, at the level that you saw on the video. Or maybe just a little bit ahead. The time was not that long since the Anunnaki got here for the first time. The time is not very long. They were supposed to be just a little bit more ahead of that. Then the Anunnaki would come back, in a million years to check on them, or 500,000 or 50,000, whenever the goddess would decide, just to check if something was going wrong or not. But it's only been like less than 20,000 years since the Anunnaki got here, so humans would only be just a little bit more ahead. There will be no railroads and lollipops and any of this. None. If it wasn't for the Vlash messing things up and turning everyone into mindless workhorses and slaves, body and mind, but they did. And so here we are at 2722. You will see in the next 5 years things, actions that we've never seen before. You will see things coming out of Russia which you will not like. It will be confusing to understand and hard to accept. But remember this, sometimes one must do bad things, in order for worse things not to happen. Now, the person who does the bad things then has to live with a feeling of guilt, remorse, regret for the rest of their lives. It doesn't matter if they avoided worse things from happening. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because those things did not happen. They were avoided. But the bad things that they had to do did happen. And so the weight on the shoulders of those bad things is a ton heavier than the consolation of having avoided worse things, because they never happened. They didn't happen. The sense of job accomplished is much lighter than the sense of guilt. You want to see things you won't understand, but remember what I've told you until now. The things that I have been done by the other side, and this side has to counterweight. And sometimes bad things have to be done. So you'll see things that maybe you won't understand, but I'll be around. Humans you know, like I said, since we're pushed, a lot of things were given to them by both sides, but then suddenly, after with the introduction of the Industrial Revolution, because it was the Vlach decided to introduce machines at the industrial level to make everybody even more into a slave, because there was already a lot of humans getting too many ideas of freedom. Revolutions were starting to pop up here and there by the minds of the humans themselves. They had learned enough to want more, and the Vlach didn't want that. So, what did they do? Let's make all these guys, give them a schedule, let's separate them, put them in different places. They don't talk as much with each other, because this group will be here, this group will be there. They have schedules. They'll be in debt. They have to work, forget about talking, and ideas of freedom and revolutions. And it worked. And many things were introduced to humans, which led to the world we have today. And about 40 years ago, in the 1970s, they stopped introducing most things to humans. Was enough. I don't know if you're aware or not, but since the 1970s, there haven't been big discoveries. You think, because maybe you lived in the 70s, you live now, like, oh, well, it's so different. No, it's not very different. Since the 70s, nothing huge, life-changing, humanity-changing has happened since the 1970s. Medication, nothing. There were no Marie and Pierre Curie. There was no more really life-changing innovations in medication. There's improvements. Now you have extra strength, or colorful, or with taste, with strawberry flavor, but something that actually cured by the millions a new medication, a revolutionary. No. All you have is improvements of what already existed in the 1970s. A little thing here, one or two things new, but has cancer been cured? Parkinson's? Not even the common cold has been cured, people. Not even the common cold. Not even the headache. Nothing revolutionary happened since the 1970s at all levels. Now you say, oh no, now we have laptops, computers. In the 1970s we already had laptops and computers. They were just bigger, much bigger, and without so much power. Memory. Now you have one at home, but they already existed. It's nothing that popped up in the 1980s or 90s or 10 years ago. There were computers before the 1970s. So we got an improvement. Now we have one at home. Same thing with the medication. The pills you had in the 1970s you have now, but now we have extra strength. Yeah. Everything you want to say. In any aspect. Music, nothing new. It's just a progressive. You got something that progressed a little to this side, to that side. That's it. Words, beats, nothing. There's no machine that caused a revolution in society since the 1970s. All you have is improvement. Sometimes not even improvement, it's just something different. And that also has a purpose. The Vlach pushed everyone till the 1970s to a limit where people, 1960s, 1970s, we're getting too many ideas again, because it was too much. The introduction of all these things, everything, massive introduction of machines and information and everything since the Industrial Revolution caused in the 60s, 70s to have a generation that was getting pissed with everything. Remember, there were the hippies and all kinds of people didn't start liking the system. And that was almost worldwide. People that were again awakening. Just like at the time of the Industrial Revolution, all those revolutions were happening all over the place because people were awakening, realizing that the system was messed up. So they wanted freedom, they wanted revolution, they wanted all kinds of stuff. Art. They didn't like the system. Then Russia introduced the Industrial Revolution. Worked for a long time. But by the 60s, 70s, people started getting pissed again and realizing what's going on. So they stopped introducing everything. They stopped introducing nothing new. No more. Let's just calm them down. So then you have the MTVs and all these sports that became sports people like gods, and these TV shows, everything, it all became about entertainment after the 70s. All these people's existence now is all about entertainment. Little by little that was introduced. No more new anything. Give them entertainment. Dumb them down. Like the Romans did with the Colosseum, with the games, to dumb down the people, to make them forget about the real problems. Same thing happened after the 70s. They dumbed down the people, gave them TV shows and all this bullshit, and MTVs, and then reality shows, and this and this and that and that. People are dumbed down again. Calm down. There's also a group over here or there that make a little noise, but nothing compared to been like before. Yeah. Yeah, so like I was saying, nothing big happened since the 1960s, 70s, and any level, medical, agriculture, architectural, sciences, art, everything's the same. Now the thing that I want to tell you is this. Do you know that everything that was invented or discovered in human history, as far as right now, all these years until now, there was not one thing that was worth mentioning that was not discovered or invented by hybrids. Some on their own, others with help. It was given to them. Here, this information. Here, you have this presented to the world. Tell people you invented it. It's your discovery. And other times, they did it by themselves. They came up with stuff. Not one thing of worth was invented or discovered by humans. Every single one was by hybrids. From both sides. Art, painting, for example. All these movements that happen. For the Renaissance, Da Vinci's and others, Michelangelo's. Medicine, science in all its aspects. Everything was invented or discovered by hybrids on their own or with help. Humans are just walking around watching these things happening. But one day I'll talk about this in deep. Cheers.